Are you looking to improve your sales without resorting to pushy tactics? Welcome to Sales Made Easy, the podcast that helps you to achieve better sales results and gain long-lasting clients through relational selling. Let's get right into it. What is a good word? Today's topic, fear. What types of fear have you overcome in your life? If you think back on this, fear has been around us for all of humanity. When people lived back thousands of years ago, what types of fears did they have? The fear of finding, or the lack of finding food would be a challenge, or finding water maybe, or fear of wild animals and the defense mechanisms that were available, or warring tribes. Fear of sickness. I mean, it's not like people could go down to the local clinic if they weren't feeling well. So over the past thousands of years, there have been all types of fear that have held us back. And for the most part, we survive the fear. Well, how does this work in business? And I think that for many of us, we know that we need to overcome fear, but we struggle with the idea of making change. So I find this very interesting in life is that we do things that are uncomfortable. So like the first example that I can think of at a age where I remember is riding a bike. Learning to ride a bike without the training wheels was scary. It was, would I have the balance? I remember learning that time where my friend who was about the same age as me was pushing me and I'm riding along and then he let go and there I was riding a two-wheeler. It was phenomenal. And that from that point on, I've done pretty well. I've not had to have anyone push me to get started. So I overcame the fear. No doubt you overcame the fear as well. You probably started out on the bicycle. You're very wobbly. You were nervous. Will I fall over? Will I scrape my knee? Will I knock a tooth out or whatever? So we overcame that fear. Then we went to school. We had fears of maybe a new teacher, a new class. You get the idea. There were times that we had to face fear in our lives and we overcame that. Fear of getting a new job or leaving a job. Fear of going into a new relationship. Will it work out? Again, we have made it through those challenges. But yet there are times in our life where we just get so comfortable that we can't even imagine dealing with the fear. So an example might be if you look at all the things that you've accomplished in your life and how many times you had to overcome fear, you might be starting a business or you might be in sales and you say things like, I can relate. I was petrified of the idea of creating a video. I would say things like, well, you don't understand. My voice is terrible. I'm not an eloquent speaker. I've given speeches before, but randomly just speaking in front of a camera, I was very nervous about that. So probably from the time I recognized that I wanted to do it to the time I actually did it, it was probably a year. Finally, I did it. And I look back at that video and I was right. I should have been afraid. It was terrible. But the moral of the lesson is I did it and I didn't stop at one. I kept going. So over time, I got better at doing the video. And, I can relate to those who struggle and they look for perfection because I would have in my phone somewhere around 30 or 40 takes of each 2-minute video I was trying to do. So you could look at my phone photos and videos and see rows and rows and rows of clips of me trying to get through a 2-minute video. It wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. But needless to say is that I got better in time. The idea of doing a podcast. I knew after I wrote Selling with Dignity that I needed to have my own podcast. It was, you got to have a podcast. If you have a book, there's no question about it. You've got to reach an audience. And the idea of me flying solo on a podcast, that was very scary. I needed someone to hold my hand. I actually had a friend of mine, Neil Haley, who is done hundreds and hundreds of podcasts, helped me with the first one, but that's all I needed, and the rest is history. Now I have over a couple of hundred podcasts on my own, and of course with guests. But point being, the fear was there. It could have held me back. It did hold me back at times, but the key thing to do is to face the fear and get out of the comfort zone. Most of the things we're trying to get out of the comfort zone, whether it be a new job, starting your own business, trying new approaches in sales or leadership, or working on the relationship or getting into a relationship, we're not dying, right? No one's threatening our lives. It's just getting out of the comfort zone. You know, there are many examples of this. J.K. Rowling is one, where she came up with the idea for the Harry Potter books back in the early 90s. She had the fear of failure, the fear of imposter syndrome. What would others say about her? They would recognize that she was not really an author. Finally, she just focused on the joy that she could bring to others by writing these books. And that to me is key, is to get out of our own skin and think about how can we help others. When we do that, it becomes easier. I mean, most of us who are servant-minded are looking for ways, but when there's an opportunity to help someone in need, we raise our hand and help, no matter how uncomfortable that may be. Whether it be that someone gets in a car accident in front of you and you pull over and you walk up to the car and you're afraid of what you see, but you do it because you know you're there to serve somebody. If we think about whether we're speaking on stages, I think of, can I help one person? If I'm going into a podcast situation where I'm a guest on someone else's podcast and they might be a little bit intimidating, maybe they've got 3 or 4 times as many podcasts, maybe they're a true professional, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to stand out here, I'm not going to be good enough. And then I think, maybe if I just help one person, that will be enough. So fear can hold us back, but overcoming the fear is what we really start to feel the joys in life, in my opinion. Is that, for a guy to ask a young lady out on a date, I was not really good at that at one point in my life, and I'm probably still not good at it because I only had to ask a few people, and one finally said yes and ended up marrying her, and now that was 30 plus years ago. So the point is, though, is that we feel better after we overcome the fear. J.K. Rowling, she overcame the fear. It took her a couple of years to finally let go of the fear and write the first Harry Potter book. And she became the first author billionaire. Another one is Sara Blakely, the creator of Spanx. She sat on her idea for about a year before she finally started working at that business and meeting people and making calls, and the rest is history. And she too became a billionaire. So what's your $1 billion idea? It's really that simple. Just come up with an idea, overcome the fear, and you're going to be a billionaire. Well, maybe not. But you can find a greater joy and meaning in your life if you look at the fear, recognize that you are not going to die. It may be a little uncomfortable, but you will get past it. You will do it. Just like you rode a bike, just like you learned how to eat with a fork, you didn't stab yourself, you learned to cut steak with a knife, you went to new schools, you got new jobs, you did it. So the next thing that is holding you back, that you're thinking about right now, that is what you need to do. I'm here for you. I know you can do it. So if you're struggling, just think, who is this going to help? Is it going to help others? Great. Is it going to help your family? Great. Is it going to help you? Yes. So let's get out and do it. Thanks for listening to the Sales Made Easy podcast. You are a wonderful human being, and you are going to overcome this fear. Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to Sales Made Easy. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Also, you're invited to join the Facebook group Sales Training Selling with Dignity. Serve first, the selling will follow.